How did California's ethnic neighborhoods shape civil rights? Imagine walking through a vibrant neighborhood where every corner tells a story of struggle and resilience. California's ethnic neighborhoods have done just that, shaping the fight for fair treatment across the state. These neighborhoods, often created because of housing discrimination and segregation, became safe spaces for communities of color. They allowed residents to build their own businesses, schools, and cultural centers, giving them a sense of identity and strength. Over time, these areas became hotbeds for activism, where people organized protests and challenged unfair laws. Housing segregation started early in California's history. After the courts declared racial zoning illegal in 1917, cities still found ways to keep neighborhoods divided. Banks and government agencies used redlining, marking certain areas as risky for loans, mostly targeting Black and immigrant communities. Real estate agents also used blockbusting, spreading fear that minorities moving in would lower property values. This pushed white homeowners to sell cheaply, helping segregation stay in place for decades. These practices created lasting boundaries on where people could live and work. Despite these barriers, ethnic neighborhoods flourished as cultural hubs. The Fillmore district in San Francisco, for example, became a center for Black jazz music, business, and activism. In Los Angeles, Bronzeville grew as a Black community with its own shops and political groups. Latino neighborhoods like East Los Angeles became centers for Chicano activism, fighting for better schools and housing rights. Asian American communities, such as Chinatown in San Francisco and Little Tokyo in Los Angeles, became places where residents could preserve their cultures and organize against discrimination. These neighborhoods made it easier for residents to unite and push for change. Groups like the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People and local activism committees organized protests against unfair hiring practices and housing policies. For example, protests on Van Ness Avenue in San Francisco demanded fair employment at car dealerships. These demonstrations often drew media attention and pressured authorities to act. Many residents faced arrests but kept fighting for justice. Legal battles also played a big role. California passed laws like the Unruh Civil Rights Act in 1959, banning discrimination in public places. Later, the Rumford Fair Housing Act in 1963 aimed to end housing discrimination. But opposition was fierce, and in 1964, voters approved Proposition 14, which tried to undo fair housing laws. Courts later struck down Proposition 14, but the fight showed how deeply segregation was woven into California's social fabric. These battles often centered around ethnic neighborhoods, highlighting their importance in the civil rights movement. Today, the legacy of these neighborhoods is still visible. Segregation patterns from the past influence where people live and go to school. But these areas remain as lively centers of culture and activism. Visiting these neighborhoods offers a chance to see how communities organized, protested, and fought for their rights. Walking through streets filled with local businesses and murals tells stories of resilience and hope. For visitors interested in California's history, exploring these neighborhoods provides a real connection to the ongoing journey toward equality. If you want to learn more about California's civil rights history, visiting neighborhoods like Little Tokyo in Los Angeles, Chinatown in San Francisco, or West Oakland can be eye-opening. Many offer guided tours, museums, and cultural events that highlight their role in fighting discrimination. These experiences help us understand how everyday people stood up against unfair laws and worked to create a more just society. Their stories reminded us that community strength and activism can change the course of history.